you guys want to talk about the topic of the week, which was Jeezy and Gucci Mane's versus battle.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yes.
Who wants to go first? Y'all want me to go first?
You can.
Sure.
All right, so I let me just rewind prior to the versus battle. Prior to the versus battle, I was anticipating T.I. and Jeezy. So then I'm scrolling through social media and I see T.I. has been canceled from this versus battle. He's been switched out for Gucci Mane. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Um, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I'm a bigger Young Jeezy fan, so it wouldn't be really that much of a battle to me because I just enjoy Young Jeezy's music a lot better. But again, that doesn't mean a lot coming from me because I'm a casual fan. I'm not somebody who was like, oh, I got to get this Young Jeezy record, da 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 da. So then fast forward to, I want to say Wednesday. I think both of you guys gave me a background because I had heard about those two beefing or whatever, but I kind of like blew it off like whatever. So I fast forward to, I think it was Wednesday during our group chat. You guys gave me some insight into how this beef between the two had come about, and I was like shocked. Um, I found out where the beef came from. I could not believe that these two were going to sit down in the same room. I was scared. I was honestly like,
Yes.
they're gonna have to cancel this battle because uh, Gucci Mane is better than me. I would not have been able to sit in that room. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then when we get to the battle, I they said it started at 8, so I had everything going at 8. These folks did not get started until after 9.
You know how they
And
go.
I'm like, after 9, we're approaching my bedtime. So
Yeah.
I didn't really see a lot of the battle that day until that day. But the next day I did watch it or listen to it in my car on my way home from work. And honestly, even when I saw it that night, I was thinking like, okay, this has been marketed as some sort of truce between the two. But once you actually watch them two in the same room, it was clear that at home as the viewer, I could feel the animosity in the room. Like there was
And
no truce.
attention. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so then the next day when I got a chance to watch the full version, I'm like, okay, Gucci Mane was throwing shots early on, but then the next day, like when you get later on into it, it was like blatant, like
Mm-hmm.
super disrespect. And I'm like, I don't understand how nothing like went down in that room. So shout out to Jeezy for keeping his composure during that time because he definitely after like the one song near the end, you hear Gucci Mane saying, I should have played this earlier, but I didn't. But then he goes into playing the song where it's talking about, I guess it's talking about the incident in which they had beef. Then
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
after that, he starts talking all this stuff like if you bring other dudes, the same thing will happen to them. Da, 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 da. And then Jeezy's like, hold up, this is not what we're here to do. We got other people looking up to us. We got to do this for the people in the industry that we lost, King Vaughn and other different names that he named. But I mean, I guess it's a win for Atlanta and a win for the culture that nothing went down during that versus
Definitely.
episode because it was definitely intense. That's my
Uh,
take.
well, you know, that night we were watching it live. I mean, we was watching it as we was, as it was happening, and we were going back and forth through the group or whatever. So I was lit, like what I mean. I'm cleaning and doing little stuff, washing clothes for the holidays. So I got the music on blast, and I already knew about the beef. I already knew, like what I'm saying, but I also I'm a Jeezy fan. Like, what I'm saying? I could ultimately say that I've never purchased a Gucci Mane CD and popped it in and listened to it all the way through. There is a few mixtape jams that he got that I fucks with, and the popular songs that he played, you know what I mean? A couple of them. So I'm not just dissing Gucci Mane um per se. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just not a fan like I am a fan of Jeezy's, where like I know that I could put this CD in and bump the whole thing. Like, you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it, with the two. Um Shout out to Jeezy for just being and showing the young men who might be a little confused to where you're headed or where you should be headed. Once you get to a certain age and a certain level in life, you cannot maintain the same type of mind frame or the same type of energy that you once had in your 20s. So if you are of age and you are still maintaining that same energy and that same mentality as you did in your 20s, you look like a clown.
I,
And that's how I feel Gucci Mane looked the entire night. I don't care that he had on a $10,000 outfit. It didn't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? To me, you still looked like a clown. You look like a clown. Um, so at the end, Gucci said whatever he said, but I feel like, you know what I'm saying, the things were already said. We seen where your man frame was at, and it was done as done. I listened to Jeezy the very next morning on Sway in the morning on Shade 4-5, and he again reiterated about where he's at as a growing and a maturing man. There's things that he didn't know back in his 20s that he knows now. He also knows the power of what the black dollar can do and the influence that him and Gucci had to get those black votes and those younger people out to the polls so they could get those Senate seats come January. That's why, i.e., Stacey Abrams was at the very beginning. You know what I mean? And I thought that that was lit because ultimately, like Jeezy said, this shit is bigger than us. Why are we going to keep beefing about some shit that happened 20 years ago and it's an attack on our lives right now? You know what I'm saying? Like there's George Floyd's are still getting killed. Breonna Taylor's are still getting killed. And then you got the King Vaughns is still getting killed. Bootsy got shot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
But do
it's
you
time
feel
to
like?
really let that shit go.
But do you
well,
feel? But do you feel like Jeezy got the right to say that since he's the start of all this stuff? Shouldn't Gucci Man being saying it's, to put it
It's,
all behind him? He's the one that had the attack on his life.
yeah, and you
Shouldn't
know
be.
what? I wanted to respond to something Kenya said too, and just to piggyback off what you
That's
said. I mean, I kind of like gave it a little bit more thought, and yeah, when you look at the battle, it did seem like a grown up battling a child. But then when you understand, like this person allegedly had a price on his head, like that's something not that you don't walk away from lightly. Like so,
uh, And okay, so he like in Gucci's own words, he extended the olive branch. So he did all of those things, and he extended his hand to squash that shit. So you know what I'm saying? He is in a bigger place, a different place. So if Gucci Man felt like that, or he was still holding into any of that, he shouldn't agree to the shit.
like you said, he did it for the culture, but that don't mean they gotta be best friends.
No,
yeah.
and
I
then,
mean,
and if you guys watch his or listen to his interview, With Sway, I watched the one on the Breakfast Club too. He's okay with that because Sway specifically asked him that they have a conversation after the versus battle and what happened after, the camera stopped rolling, and he said it was absolutely pandemonium in there. It was like a circus in there. Nobody was getting to either side, and they went their separate ways. And he said that he's okay with never ever speaking to him again or whatever. He said he did what he had to do and he's moving on.
So
And
it sounds like Jeezy made peace with himself more than anything. So
he
even if
had
you don't accept this olive branch or whatever
mm,
it is,
mm,
I'm making peace with myself because I've taken my life in a different direction, and this is just part of my growing up process. So
mm.
this is for
We
me.
all have to do that. We all have to do that as human beings.
I don't know though. I mean, I feel like you said, Gucci man matured too to the point where, because at the end of the day, it's easy for the robber or the person to put the money on somebody's head to say that they matured and they going in a different direction. But the
Hmm.
person who's the victim, you can't put yourself in their shoes. Like,
Right.
so for him
No,
to
Now,
you
not
I
even
can't.
do
must
that,
admit, I was the one who was like, okay, Gucci Mane needs to grow up. But then I had to think about it a little bit longer. Like, if somebody had a price on my head, like,
yeah, him
I'm
saying
really
saying
gonna
little
be like,
slick shit.
allegedly, if somebody allegedly had a price on my head, am I going to really like just say, all right, I forgive you?
No, him saying little slick shit. It was his way to saying like, don't get it fucked up. We in the same place, but I want you to act a certain way. But kudos to Jeezy for not taking the bait because
Yeah.
he looked like he was very undermanned in there.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
Gucci came with a whole entourage and shit.
I mean, I've seen little clips of different stuff that people was putting out there. Jeezy had a few people in there too. Like I just think that ultimately him saying okay, Jeezy had a price on Gucci, okay, but ultimately Gucci
Allegedly.
killed allegedly Gucci killed somebody who was in Jeezy's camp. Like, you know what I'm saying? And for you to just, you know what I mean, you bringing that up and saying that anybody else like you could get it, I just feel like it's tasteless. Because of what's really going on in the world right now. So I just think that I didn't appreciate that shit. Whether it was, he had every right to feel how he felt. Gucci did, but
Hmm.
I just, if it was me ultimately, and you still holding on to that, I would have just declined the versus battle.
Yeah. I think that when you look at it like straight on, like looking at the versus battle, Jeezy definitely came out like the more mature person. Like just looking at it at face value, like he definitely came out looking like the more mature party. But I can't say like after thinking about it, I can't say I blame Gucci for still kind of holding on now.
Yeah, I just think that it was tasteless. My outfit. Let's have a jewelry versus. My outfit is $10,000. Let's
That was
look
corny.
what. Like, I just think that that was just like. I just think that that
It
was
was
lame.
corny.
He
It was
It
did
was
corny.
call
just lame.
he called Jeezy a pussy a few times.
Yeah, yeah.
And as
Hmm.
a man, Top, as a man, that's not something that you take lightly. Like,
uh,
Yeah.
I know. Jeezy, like I said in the text before it started, Gucci was going to try to bully Jeezy. I'm just glad Jeezy ain't mess up the money because that
mhm.
would have been horrendous if
Well,
something
he
would have
he
happened.
said that on the Breakfast Club interview. He said he has worked for 10 years to get to the place where what we seen. He's been working on that for 10 years.
Yeah, because
He's been
I
working on
can't.
that for 10 years. So he's just like, you know what I'm saying? He knew and he anticipated that all of those things was going to come. Like, you know what I'm saying? But he did what he had to do for him. And moving forward, like, you know what I'm saying? I guess he'll be good, you know? He
Right.
did
And I
it
think that
and
that's being self-aware is really a huge uh thing when it comes to like you and your inner peace. um when you become self-aware, you'll know, okay, I can't react this way because
Mhm.
I can't be thinking about just this moment. This is going to
Right.
impact X, Y, and Z. So him being that
Said
self-aware
that.
to know that like this is bigger than this. I
He
can't.
said that. He
Yeah.
said
But
that
at
I
the end
cannot
of the
let my
day,
anxiety and my anger in this moment cost me everything that I done built these last 20 years, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
your anger and your anxiety is going to do if you react in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So 9 times out of 10, when you react in that moment, shit's not going to be good. Shit's not going to be good. And then you going to have all this backlash. Like, people trying to make a home. People got families to take care of. There's a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, that that's dependent on you, just all types of stuff. So I just think that it was huge. I feel like a lot of people needed to see that. A lot of young men needed to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, apparently Gucci may not have come to that point of self-awareness yet. Um, I also think that he's blessed to have the wife in his life that he has. Because even um, what he did was probably toned down from what he could have been on.
Hmm.
Had
that's
he
what I'm
not
saying.
had
It could have got
Keisha
better.
in his life.
Yes.
Um,
He
at
looked
this,
good on the outside, but he's still the same on the inside. She,
But
you
how
know what
can
I'm
you
saying?
say that? You can't say that.
Say
Something,
what?
because if that was the old Gucci, something would have happened. Something would have happened. You can't say that.
Just on TV in front of millions of people like that, he was willing to do. He was willing to do something.
It don't necessarily got to be then and there, but it could have been like a lineup. They could have lined him up or whatever. Like I
Mhm.
look at it more. Gucci man might have matured, but he still ain't got no home training.
That's what I said. It looked good on the outside, but it's the same on the inside. He is who he is on the
He
inside.
calmed down a
You know what I
lot
mean?
though. He calmed down a lot, like to the point where the old Gucci wouldn't even have did it.
mm-hmm.
But you can't blame him. He probably got PTSD. Like
He
Yeah,
probably
that's a
did.
lot. That's a lot.
He
I really
probably
had to think
did.
about it. Like that's a lot.
It is.
So
It is. I mean, I agree with that. But ultimately, I think that Jeezy won, even with the songs.
mm-hmm.
Because that's what with the verses, that's what is put in place for. Like, you know what I mean? Who got the better hits, right? This song versus that song, this song versus that song, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I felt like he had better music. What did you
Mm-hmm.
guys think?
I'm going with Jeezy only because I had always been somebody who liked Jeezy's music better than Gucci Mane's. Period. So I guess you could say I'm biased, but I don't really feel like going into this there was any way that I would have picked Gucci Mane because I just didn't like.
see,
I didn't
Even
really care for
Tommy,
Gucci Mane's music.
You're a Gucci fan, right? Did you think that he was up, or would you say that he was up?
no, I love the Jeezy definitely won that. Jeezy music is catered more towards something like a versus. Like you said, Gucci mixtape Gucci's probably better than mainstream Gucci. Well, hands down, mixtape Gucci's better than
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
um mainstream Gucci. So even when
mm-hmm,
Gucci tried to play his mainstream songs, they wasn't hitting. Like
mm-hmm.
the only songs I gave Gucci was when he was basically dissing Jeezy right
Mm-hmm.
in front of his
Right,
face.
right.
But
And
other
we
than that,
everybody love a good diss, yeah,
yeah.
track. Yes,
But
for
other
sure.
than that, those might be the only rounds I gave him. So that was like 3 rounds out of 20. To me, Jeezy, his catalog is to the point where I think he might have beat Ti.
Yeah.
So
I said, like he got he had so much music that he didn't even play. Like
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
he played older music, and it was still
A lot of the
like
songs he played, it wasn't even his features either.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now,
So,
one thing that I paid attention to this verse is that I think Tom said before that I can definitely agree with is that the artist should not pick their songs. I feel like on each person's end there was definitely bangers that both of y'all could have played and you didn't. And I was
mhm,
like, maybe y'all need to keep the song selection to maybe a representative, but because things that you're making and because you made them, you be like, oh, this is hard. I'm
It's
definitely
your
going to.
baby.
But
Yeah.
I
right,
mean, it doesn't translate well to the fans.
And
So
the
right,
ones the
I
fans
was
always
like,
love, they hate.
yeah,
mhm,
You know what I
yes.
mean? So it's a tricky situation when you let the artist pick it. But I
Or
think,
how many songs? 20 songs. That's a lot of songs.
yeah, that's your DJ. Your DJ got to do his homework and come up with the 20 best
mhm.
songs. Don't let
For
the artist
real,
pick it.
for
But
real.
I do let I'll say Jeezy won the battle with the songs, but Gucci definitely won the entertainment
For
battle.
sure.
So real quick before we move on, do y'all want to talk about the fashions? Since Gucci talked about how his outfit was $10,000.
No, but Jeezy he's a fool for after uh Gucci Man made that meme to still come dressed in the in the
I'm,
basketball jersey.
I did not like how Jeezy was dressed. That's my homeboy, but I did not like how he was dressed. I feel like Gucci did do that with his outfit, but I probably wouldn't have broadcast that it was $10,000.
No, he was just trying to poke but he was trying to push buttons at that time. After
Mm-hmm.
every little thing he was saying something. It was just like
right,
he was just trying to, you know what I mean? So even saying, I don't even know where he's from, but we from right down the street, like he said,
right.
just trying to push buttons.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted Jeezy to fuck up the money so bad.
Mm-hmm. And he
Yeah.
did. I'm proud of him for
That
not.
was that was a prime example, a true example of a baiting the motherfucker right there.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so
This
proud of him
And
for
boy,
what he
yeah,
did.
this boy cut off Stacey Abrams.
yes, that was ignorant. That was ignorant.
Gucci
That
man
was
did.
ignorant.
What did he
he
say?
no, he just like they. He wasn't even trying to hear Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, and she was like, he was like, let's get it. But she was like, but I did want to say, because she had some things to say, because that audience that those two guys had is the audience that needs to get those Senate seats and to make sure that unfinished business that they got down in Atlanta, that shit gets finished. So she needed that time. And they need to tap into that shit. That shit is huge.
Yeah,
Those seats down there in Atlanta can change the course of our future.
yeah. So I mean, I know I said, Gucci Mane can, feel his feelings about the situation with him and Jeezy, but what you're talking about with that Stacey Abrams thing, that's still as a prime example of his level of ignorance.
He probably's like, why the
Like,
fuck's she on the screen?
Yes, the maturity. Hmm. Hmm.
so with
Man,
that being said, bye Gucci. I mean, I know you have feelings about what happened, but still bye.
Hmm.
no, but man, I be feeling the same way though, man. Like Kamala Harris will come on the screen or something with something that don't got nothing to do with politics and say something. But like
But
if
you
they
gotta
already told if
understand,
they
like it's so super important for down there.
but I'm
Like it might
saying
not
like
impact us, but
the way
down
Gucci
there,
man
like
was looking though, like he didn't even like
excuse
they
me,
didn't even tell him. She was coming on the
they might not have. But who is he?
They probably told him he wasn't trying to hear none of that shit. That shit probably went in one ear and right out the other, or it probably went over his head. Because if you guys know, this was Jeezy's first year voting and registering and voting and getting all into that shit. So
mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't even know if Gucci was even registered or even voted. Like we
And
don't
then
even
so
know.
next time you be like, all right, in the first couple of minutes, Stacey Abrams coming on. He probably was like, all right, well, whatever. Like,
Yeah, did he know who she was? Like, he was probably like, oh, that's probably the producer of of the show or some shit. He probably didn't even know who she
well,
was.
from
I
being
just,
from down there, and she ran for governor.
I hope
I'm
so.
Yeah,
hoping,
I
I
know he
hope
probably knows
so.
who she is.
I'm hoping
Okay,
he knew who she was.
But he
okay.
looked like they ain't telling that she was doing. He was straight in war mode.
Yes, yes,
But then, like,
yes,
soon as you see her face, you can't just chill for a second.
He tried to
yes.
chill
Act,
for a second.
act like you got some home training. Like, come on,
He
come
was like, "I'm gonna
on.
kill him from the door with this diss record."
Yeah.
Hold up, guys! I'm Stacey Abrams. He's like, "What? He's supposed to be playing my song."
Terrible.
Poor
Yeah.
Stacey Abrams. She was trying to tell her that she could relate to them and everything. Like,
Didn't
man,
he ask her if she could if she could clear his record or something?
did
He
he?
said something. He said something crazy.
But
Who?
her
Gucci
response
man?
was like, if I'm governor, I could, yes. But
I
anyway,
ain't even hear all that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And
I'm looking forward to seeing, I guess, who will be in the next verses. Shout out to Timberland and Swiss Beats for a season 2.
It's only on that beat.